Welcome back everybody, and with the webcam again, while my camera is recharging, I thought let's do it like in the good old days. And let's talk a little bit about drawing. Basically, let's continue our drawing lesson from a couple of weeks ago where we were drawing about how to build everything with boxes. And yeah, let's see how you can measure things out. And what's a better way to conduct this discussion than having a nice little coffee and enjoying it. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker per se, but my girlfriend really loves coffee, especially cappuccino. And that's why we got this little device here, which is a foamer. So it makes foam on top of her coffee or cappuccino. Why am I talking about this? Because I want to take this very simple looking little kitchen utensil and illustrate what I'm trying to teach you this week. So let's start drawing. And how do we measure with rectangles? Well, let me give you the example. So I'm just gonna take this away for a second and make a new layer. Let's say we have this rectangle here. And let's say I have a ball in it, right? Then if I subdivide this rectangle into its halves, so let me put this a little bit higher, then I can see that sort of this ball hits almost the center of every line. So I know if I'm going to draw another rectangle, even if it's smaller, so it doesn't have to be the same size. I know if I subdivide it into its halves, then I know that this ball, if I want to draw it in it, it is going to touch sort of all these lines. So I'm just going to plop that in there, right? And I can do another one when I say, okay, I have this rectangle and I have ball here, right? Something like this. And it also has sort of protrusion like this. Now, if I subdivide my big rectangle nicely into halves, there we go, and I'm going to subdivide it into halves again, like this, just so I can do extra measurements, right? Now, if I draw a different rectangle and I want to redraw that in it, like this, so let me make it smaller again. There we go, something like this. I'm going to subdivide this firstly. Oh, I can move this a little bit. There we go. And there we go. And now I just look at here. Let me call this 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4, 4. All right, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So I know many of you know this, but some don't. So I think this would be very valuable. So now what am I looking at? In 1, 4, so this is here, what do I see? Only this much. Let me actually go with red. So I see this much in 1, 4. In 1, 3, I sort of go from here up there, right? In 2, 3, or in 1, 2, I'm sorry, I have this. In 2, 2, this sort of goes like this. Then we go to 3, 2, like the round closes a little bit. In 3, 3 it comes from here and it goes a little bit back there. Then in 2, 4 this goes something like this, and in 3, 4 we just have this closing. Now this is an ugly circle, so that's why I make sure to go over it later with black. But let us take a look at this rectangular protrusion. So we go to 3, 2, also in our drawing, in 3, 2, and it sort of comes from here, it goes into 4, 2 a little bit, then it comes down, and here it's almost on this division line, but from here it goes all the way back to the circle. So now I'm just going to take my tools, I go back to black, I'm going to make a nice circle here, there we go, I'm going to try and make it fit here, and then I go over these lines as well. And now I replicated the same thing on a different size. So this is also what I can do when I draw something like this. So let me show you how I think. Obviously this mostly happens in my head because you can't really place, when you're looking at something, you can only place this rectangle over it in your head, obviously. Let me make it in this blue because I feel like that's better. So I'm going to make a rectangle, what is it? Yeah. Let me make, I'm going to make the rectangle so that it just barely touches our little foamer, right? There we go. And then also, oh, down here, there. Now, I'm going to try to replicate this same exact rectangle in black. So here, 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 and then let's, I think it's this thick. Yeah, that should be around it. All right, now let me subdivide this a little bit more. So let us see, I'm going to do a half here and a half there. I'm purposefully leaving out the grip now. We can do that in a second. And then a half here, well, a little bit lower. A half here and a half here. And then let us do these halves again, right? And you know what? I'm gonna do it here again. I'm not gonna do it in the middle because they don't need it here, but I'm also gonna do it on the top. All right, let us go back to black. And actually, let me do this in blue as well. Divide in half, divide in half, divide, that is not half, isn't it? Like here and there. And now I'm going to subdivide this into half, and this into half, and then the upper one and the lower one. Okay, now I come back actually with the black. I'll make this a little bit more visible. Okay, now as we can see, the side is a little bit inside, so it's not touching the side of our box. So I'm going to draw it maybe just a little bit closer. And this has to be the same on the other side, obviously, because I'm trying to draw it symmetrically here. And this is where the top is touching. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer again. Let me just copy paste this on the above this layer. There we go, perfect. Now, it means that I can draw my ellipse up here where it touches at that point. Bring it down a little bit. And let me turn off the ellipse a little bit. If I look here, if I subdivide it here into half and to half again, so it's basically almost the half. Yeah, it almost touches here at the half point. That means if I come here, so subdivide it half and half again, this is almost where my ellipse is touching. So create my ellipse. So that's the major axis is there. Make sure that it's straight, like that. And you can see that I didn't draw it quite correctly, but it's not a problem. There we go. So now I can also just, let me see on this side, this band is just a little bit above the half point. So if this is the half point, the band should be there. I'm going to do this with a very thin line. Yeah, the band is just a little bit above it. And then I can take my ellipses and redraw it again, just so you can show that this is where the bend is. Oh, not so strong. This a little bit lower as well. This. There we go. So that's the upper part. All right, and let's do some subdivisions again. Subdivide and subdivide. And then subdivide here as well, and there as well. So once again, our ellipses will be touching there. Let me do the subdivisions here. So it's half and half, half and half. There we go. Back to our ellipse. There we go. This feels correct. Make sure to draw a little bit through with the ellipse here as well. It's always good to do that. And then the upper part of this touches somewhere there. So I'm going to do the same drawing through thingy a little bit here. There we go, not as strongly as before. And then it stays. Let me turn this off. I would say somewhere here is where the turning point happens again. And that is at the halfway point of this. So I'll come back here, halfway point at that and halfway point at that. So this is where I want my ellipsis to do its turn. And let me bring it out here. Yeah, that is perfect. So it's going to be in here and a little bit more flat. So somewhere here is where it does that. And then from here I can do the roundings. There we go. I can come back. Center point is here, obviously, that's where I put it. And yeah, I'm just going to eyeball that. It should be around here and here, so I know to take my ellipse. Alright, now with that done, we can draw this area. So let me zoom in here a little bit. I would say center point here. I'm going to subdivide this as well, and then subdivide this as well. And now we sort of see where we are. Come back here, back to dark. Now, I'm going to come down here, subdivision here, a subdivision there. And then I also said subdivide this, and I used the center of this again. So now, as we can see on the drawing, just a little bit over this center point goes up until here. Now we have this nice bend, goes there. Let me make this a little bit darker so I see what we're drawing. Yeah, and it comes down just before this center point, or line in this case, all the way to here, and we have this bend here. And I would say, let's go around it a little bit like that. Okay, and then we have the button somewhere here. Now that was quite a bit high. There we go. So this would be our button, which is a little bit rounded, and we have that sign of on and off in the middle there. Here it gets a bit rounded, and it follows, let me turn this, so it follows this arch. It goes along with it. There we go. So this I can sort of erase a little bit. There we go. All right. And now I have these two buttons, which relatively are also easy. So they are within this quadrant. Now we have that. One thing that is missing is the handle. And I would say if I take this distance, it's somewhere here, right? Almost a little bit. Yeah, almost the end of the drawing or of the visual. Yeah, there we go. So I like that. I like that very much. And because I can replicate this here, so this distance comes until here, pull it down, and I'm going to need, straight line, the center of this, it comes up until here. Now let's go back here, let me take my dark. It starts somewhere at this point, goes up nicely there, so let me draw up until here, right? Just like that, and then from here, it goes up to in a nice, as you can see, I am a little bit eyeballing here more. I'm a little bit impatient, which you shouldn't always be, but you can do it sometimes. I'm gonna take the line tool, so I don't have to rotate the screen, and just connect it up there. And I'm going to do the same for here. So this looks like to be in the center there. So I'm going to draw, it should be somewhere here, right? And from here I'm going to take, the line tool, and it is also a little bit tapered, not too much, just a little bit. And then here we also have a nice bend. Again, obviously, I don't think drawing should be perfect, because then you can just take a photo of it. So if you have little imperfections in it, I think that's perfectly fine. That shouldn't be a problem at all. And one thing like this should be repeated here, because it comes a little bit like this. And then we have, this is basically this inner beveled area. I'm going to rotate it after a little bit here so it fits my hand better. There we go. All right, and now I can take away the grid and make this dark again. And now we have a nice copy that is pretty much accurate to what we see there. Well, not 100%, but as much as it gets. From here on, you can measure it. So we have flat measurements down. The question is, how do you translate this into 3D? So let me turn these off, and create a new layer, right? And if I say I have this shape which looks a little bit like our foamer. Okay, I exaggerated the shape, but you will see why in a second. So I am going to draw a box around this, just like we did before, and I'm going to do the measurements this time in red. Okay, here we are. So let me do a quick copy of this, just so you see what I'm talking about, and I'm going to draw it a little bit smaller as well. All right, there we go, very quick copy. It's smaller and it's pretty much the same. Well, I did squish it a little bit. Let me fix that very quickly. Yeah, that's why I like digital programs, you can cheat with it. There we go. So what if I want to put this a little bit into 3D? Well, then we're going to have to draw this rectangle in 3D. Now, what we have to know about 3D, we have to find the center point of this rectangle, which is easy. We just connect the two diagonals. There we go, something like that. This is the center point. Now, I'm going to eyeball this so we know that these two lines go into a vanishing point there. So which means whichever line comes through here, through the center point, it has to go to that same vanishing point. So I'm going to make sure that it goes to that point. Obviously, you need a little bit of experience, or you just take. But you don't, the problem is you won't have this space on a piece of paper. So that's why it's important for you to learn how to sort of eyeball this vanishing point. And obviously mine is not 100% correct there either, but look at that. Look at that, it's almost there. Boom. All right, so now we know this is half, and if I draw vertical here, or not a vertical, because sometimes these go into a vanishing point as well, but let me just call it vertical now. We have these center points there. And now I know the center points, I just have to subdivide it again. So there, and there, and there, and there. And one thing that we have to know is that this distance is always, so like distance A and distance B, even though A equals B, because we are in perspective and there's foreshortening happening, A is going to be bigger than B, at least if we measure it exactly. So now we just have to take this and all the measurements that we see here and apply it here. So I know that it goes onto the center point here, there, and the center point here, or almost center point there. Then we have these little nooks. Same thing goes a little bit above the center point I see, and above there as well. Then we have these little nooks. We have the center line, and then this goes almost all the way to the wall there. I'm going to draw it because you can't really see it if it's touching or not. And then here goes there, and then you connect it there. The good thing is now you can actually rotate and skew this surface any way you want, and you'll be able to draw the same thing. Let me just scratch a little bit of black here so we see as well what I'm drawing there. So once again, if I want to find the center point here, like somewhere there and somewhere there, so I know that these two go somewhere in the vanishing point there. So I imagine this should be something like that. So half and half, and the same here. So I'm going to try and find the halves, which is here, and then divide again, and I forgot to divide it here and here as well. So now if I want to draw the same shape again, I know very well that half point and a little bit above half point. So this is half point, a little bit above half point. Just draw this line. Same on the other side. This is half point, this is a little bit above half point. There we go. Then the nook there and the nook here. Same happens down here. Nook and nook. Connect them. I'll make sure that this is a really small one because it looks like I went to half point. If you look here, it's not quite at half point. So this I should fix it, and I am going to fix it. This is a smaller one, just like that, and the same is happening. This was better. This was better, and this is better as well. And now make sure to see the center line here, and now I draw. Now you see that this won't touch. There we go, and here this one comes as well, and then just draw this line in and do some cross hatching here so this appears black. And that's the good thing with this, because now you can draw this shape wherever and however you draw it. And then, because this is a round shape and I'm drawing flat shapes, in the next episode I'm going to explain how you can draw and how you apply this measurement for round shapes as well. Hey guys, Editing Robert here. So what I forgot to mention in the video, that I linked two really good videos in the description from ModernDayJames and Scott Robertson, which go into how you can copy things in 3D space and how you can measure and skew in 3D space. Basically what I was talking now in the second part of the video, and they also explain it really good. So make sure to take a look at their videos, because I find it quite hard to explain this, and I thought it's just good if you take a look at a different way of explaining this as well. But please just leave me comments and messages in the comment section below, because I will try and answer your questions if you have any questions, or if you don't understand something correctly. But yeah, that was it for this week. I really do hope that I was quite clear and that you take something away from it and it's useful for you. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want more content like this, or if you want to see more content like this, follow me. Maybe hit that bell button so you're notified if there's something new on my channel. But as always, the most important part is that you guys have a great week, and see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye.